Hi everyone, how are you all? I hope you're doing really well and keeping healthy. I'm back again with another video today. This week I had got a few requests from some of you. Some of you messaged me privately to request if I could make some traditional Asian kind of delicacies, but in a healthy kind of way. So I thought of making something that Indians and Pakistanis really enjoy, and especially in the Asian continent, you get different varieties of it. So as you probably know by the title by now, I am going to be making some homemade oven baked pakoras. So if you don't know what pakoras are a mixture of vegetables mixed in a batter of chickpea flour, and then they're fried in deep oil. We're going to be doing exactly the same thing, but instead of frying them, we are going to be baking them in the oven. You might not have come across this that much, but actually it's a really easy way of making the pakoras, reducing the oil intake, and you can enjoy them without feeling guilty that they've been fried, and you don't have to worry about all the after effects of having fried food, of all the gas and all the the weight building up. So, and you can enjoy it as well, and you will actually have a better taste and a better crunch than you would do if you were to have fried pakoras or like fried samosas, because often with fried things, if you put them on the side and save them for later, they become really soggy. Whereas if we're going to oven bake these, even if we save these for later, they will still be nice and crunchy and crispy. Alright, so we are going to start. I'm just going to show you what I've got. Now, the pakoras that I'm going to be making today, I'm going to be making a very basic kind of recipe, and I just want to show you like the kind of foundation ingredients that you need for pakoras. But for vegetable pakoras, you can add any kind of vegetables you like. You can have cauliflower, cabbage, mushrooms, aubergines, paneer, which is a soft cheese. That's a very famous pakora ingredient. But today we're just going to be doing the basics, which is onions, potatoes. I'm going to do some carrots and some green chilies and coriander and some spring onions, and of course some garlic for taste. And I've got some spices which I'm going to show you. Now usually I would say to you that you can add the spices according to your own taste, but there are some particular spices that are a must-have in pakoras, and that's what kind of give them their taste. And this is the flour that we're using. This is chickpea flour. Chickpea flour is really good, high in protein, high in fiber, low in calories, and really easy to digest. So you don't need to feel guilty that you're having a gluten-based food. Right, so we're going to get cracking. We're going to start off with chopping we'll grate our potatoes first. Now I've washed everything, and I'm going to tell you a tip why I have washed everything just before making the pakoras. I'll tell you that in a little while, but it's important that you wash it not an hour before, not half an hour before, literally just seconds before. You want to have some water still in your vegetables, and I'll explain that to you in a bit. Right, so let's get cracking. We're going to do the potatoes first. So I'm just going to be using a simple grater to grate the potatoes and the carrots, and then we'll head on to the onions. Actually, you know what? We'll do the onions first, because our board's going to get a bit messy. So I've already washed and peeled these onions, and now I'm just going to slice them. Right. So here goes the onions. So you want to cut them really thin as possible. If you have one of those gadgets where you can just cut them really thin, then do so. It just makes life a lot more easy. In fact, this onion's quite big, so what I'm going to do is just cut this in half. Excuse my knife skills. Okay. There we go. I think I'm just going to use one onion for now. Actually, no, we'll go with 1.5. Sometimes you just need to tell as you're going along how much of what you need. It depends, if anyone says, if you read an ingredient 2 onions, they don't specifically tell you 2 small onions, 2 large onions, so you just have to go along with your instinct. So these onions are quite big. so I'm just going to use 1.5, and I'm just going to cut them in half. Right, so there's our onions done. I'm going to get a bowl, and we are going to put our onions in the bowl. There we go. Oops. Some dropped on the floor. That's fine. That's going to go in the bin. Okay, and then next we're going to do our potatoes. Now I've not peeled the potatoes. Like I always tell you, no need to peel the potatoes. The skin is what contains all the nutrients. And you want to peel them as if you're making hash browns. I mean, you want to grate them as if you're making homemade hash browns. Now, if you don't want to use potatoes in your pakoras for whatever reason, you can switch them with sweet potatoes. But if you want to get the original taste of pakoras, then potatoes are the way to go. Okay. Now, onions and potatoes are the basic two things that you need for pakoras. But I'm going to be adding some grated carrots as well. Again, you can add some peas, frozen peas. They give a very nice texture in pakoras too. Okie doke. There we go. There's our carrots done. You want to add parsnips, you can do parsnips. If you don't like the taste of parsnips, you can grate them. You won't even be able to tell that you've got parsnips in them. It's a really good way of getting lots of vegetables in, you know, especially if you've got kids as well. Or yourself generally, you know that you're a bit of a fussy eater. I know a lot of adults who confess that, you know, they're fussy eaters, and that's why they have trouble convincing their children to eat vegetables. As long as you confess to it and you know that you have a problem and you want to do something about it, that's the beginning. Right, so we're going to cut off the stems. Not too much, because even the stems have really, really deep flavour in them, and you want to use them as much as you can. So, you get the coriander. Now notice, you can see water still dripping off the coriander, and again I'll remind you why in a bit. Okay. You don't need to cut the coriander too fine, because you really won't be able to even tell, notice any pieces sticking out, or that any pieces are too long or too big. Right. I know this is not necessary, me keep washing the chopping board, but it's just a habit that doesn't go away. So please do excuse me. And then I've got my spring onions here. Again, spring onions is also not a must-have, but I've just got spring onions, so I'm adding them in. They'll give a nice taste, a nice crunch. Okay. And obviously a very nice flavour too. If you've got herbs, you can add some herbs, but you don't want the herbs to kind of take away the flavour of the coriander. Sorry about that. Because yeah, coriander is one of the flavours that must stand out in the pakoras. So nothing that will fight back. Okay, so that's our spring onions done. I'm kind of rushing this just for the sake of getting everything in the video, but you know, if you're at home and you want to do this in your own time, then yeah, by all means, take your time. Okey-doke. Next we're going to do the chilies. So I've got a green chilli here. You must be thinking, why is she using such a long knife? This is like a cake slicing knife. It's just, this is one of my favorite knives to use for everything. I use it for cakes, I use it to cut chop onions, I use it for vegetables, for fruit. So I've just got a really bad habit with this long knife. It's just, you know, sometimes you have particular utensils that you just can't let go of. So in my whole drawer, this is probably the one valuable thing I wouldn't be able to replace. Okay, right. And my family likes the chilies. They like the spice kick. So I'm not going to take the seeds out of these chilies, and I'm not going to cut the chilies too small because we like the kind of chunks. And I'm going to add some red onions in here as well, not just for colour, but they have their own taste as well, their own kind of sharpness. It's a really thin, long green chilies that you've got to be careful of. They're really, really, really chilly, and they have a kick to them. Right, and then we're going to add green chilies with the seeds, and lastly, it's the garlic. Now, I mentioned to you before, well, actually I didn't, did I? You can use garlic, frozen garlic, garlic paste, but if you've got fresh garlic, then why not use fresh garlic? The taste of fresh garlic is just a complete different taste to, you know, the paste. But I mean, if you have the paste, or you don't even have the paste, you can use garlic powder, as long as you have the kind of garlic flavour in there. And again, I'm not going to grate this too much. I'm not going to cut them too fine because we like the garlic chunks. I certainly do anyway. I like kind of the rawness, the bite of fresh garlic in my cooking. Okay, so there's lots of different varieties, lots of different variations of making pakoras. You know, if you were to go on the internet, you'll be able to find loads of different recipes. I'm just showing you one of my ways of making these pakoras, and a really easy way of making them. And again, because they're oven baked, there's just so much more kind of guilt-free, that guilt-free kind of pleasure. Right. Look how amazing they look, all these colours. They look absolutely amazing. I'm just gonna dissect the sprig onion. Okay, right, now next goes in the spices. I'm going to show you the spices one by one. And the reason why I want to show you the spices one by one is because, like I mentioned, in your cooking you can season your food according to your own taste. But in certain foods there are certain ingredients that you must have in order to give it that kind of authentic taste. So for example, I'm going to show you the most important spices that you need. So first is turmeric. Turmeric is not just for the taste, but it's for the color as well. And just in case you know, turmeric is a natural antibiotic, a natural antioxidant. If you are familiar with the actual turmeric, what do you call it? It looks like a garlic. The actual turmeric, I don't know, it's a vegetable, but it looks like a garlic, but it's slightly orange on the skin. If you do have access to that, which you can buy from Asian supermarkets or, you know, Asian vegetable stalls, then please go ahead and do buy them. Go that extra mile, because they are that is the kind of thing that has the 100% strength of turmeric in it. Turmeric powder is probably like diluted 100 by 100. Okay, and then next we have, I don't want to use the same spoon as a turmeric as is mustard seeds. Mustard seeds also gives its own taste in the pakoras, so this is again a must-have. The next one is something I use in one of my other recipes. I can't remember what we made. This is called ajwain seeds, but in English it's called something else. It's got a very long name, and I did promise you that I was going to mention to you what it was, but I'll make sure I put it down in the description box. This is a must-have ingredient in the pakora mixture. This is also another spice that gives it its authentic kind of taste. So we're going to add a dairy 1 spoon, or actually no, 1.5 spoon of ajwain. And then we have cumin seeds, known as zero powder. Almost finished with this. Again, this will be 1.5 spoon of cumin seeds. And then this is optional, black pepper, but I'm going to add 1/2 spoon of black pepper just for that kind of kick. And then we have chili powder, 3/4 spoon of chili powder, and then 1/2 spoon of dry coriander powder. Got all my labels there. And then one most important thing that you don't want to miss is salt. We need 1 spoon of salt, maybe just a little bit more. Okay. And then also, as we're doing the spices with a small spoon, I'm going to add in the baking powder as well. Obviously, this is going in the oven. It will be baking, and baking powder will help the pakoras kind of rise, or not even rise, but not go flat. So we'll do 1/2 spoon of baking powder. If you were frying the pakoras, you wouldn't add baking powder, you would add baking soda, but again, that's optional. Right, now next goes in the main character of the show, which is the chickpea flour. Now, do you remember in the beginning I told you that if you are going to make the pakoras, this is my tip. This is the way I have been making these pakoras for a long time. This is a tip that is highly recommended by me. If you wash all your ingredients literally seconds before, you still got a little bit of water remaining in your ingredients. What that does is that once you add in the chickpea flour, you don't need to add too much water into the mixture in order for it to bind and get sticky, because the water in your vegetables are going to help do all of that. You'll understand in a minute. I'll explain to you in a minute. So let me just add 1, 2, 3, 4 spoons of chickpea flour, and this is just to start off with. So I'm about to get my hands sticky, and what I'm going to do is get a glove. I wouldn't usually do this, but I don't want to look too messy on my camera. So right, so I've got no water in here. Just remember I've got no water in this mixture, but just watch how the water that's still remaining in the vegetables, and also water releasing from the onions, is going to help make all the chickpea flour stick to everything and combine together. Okay. And as you're mixing everything, just squeeze everything along, because that helps kind of release everything. It kind of releases all the water. As you're mixing, make sure you get the mixture. I did a mistake by getting a small bowl. That's fine. We're not all perfect. Okay. And as you're mixing it, you'll be able to tell if you need to add some more chickpea flour or some more water. Well, we haven't actually added any extra water until now. Okay, and I can tell already that we need some more chickpea flour, because although this seems to be enough, it's not enough to coat everything together. So we will add 2 spoons. I think 2 spoons, no, let's do 3. 3 spoons should be enough. Okay, and I can feel that really combining together, and at this point I'm going to add in some water. This is about 2 spoons of water so far. Another way of making pakoras is making the wet mixture first with the chickpea flour and water. Now, if you were going to bake your pakoras, that's probably not the ideal way, because then you're going to get a very wet kind of mixture, and then you will definitely get flat pakoras if you bake them in the oven, because it's going to be too wet to hold all the ingredients together. I'm recording this on a Wednesday night, and it's raining outside, and I've got the garden door open, and it just feels so beautiful. I am one of those weird people who loves the rain. Okay. And then, right, because we are not frying these pakoras, but in order to give them that crispy taste, we do need to add a little bit of oil. But again, I'm going to be using olive oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in about 2 spoons, roughly 2 spoons of olive oil in the mixture. I'm just going to coat everything, and that way I don't need to worry about coating the pakoras with oil before they go in, because I have just literally just roughly coated it all with some olive oil. Right, and let's just clean up a little bit, and then sorry about that. I'm just gonna get a cloth and just clean my worktop here. And now I'm gonna get my favorite tool I have in my kitchen. I don't know if you want to call it a tool or a, I don't know, a magic wand or whatever, but this silicone mat just does the trick for me. So we're going to be using these silicone mats to bake our pakoras. Now you could spoon out the mixture onto the silicone mat, or you can just do it by hand. I'm going to do it by hand, so please excuse me if you don't like this visual that you're about to see, but this is the only way to get the real kind of feel that you want in your pakoras. So try and make them around the same size. You can make them big or small, entirely up to you. So I'm not going to make them too big, not too small. If you make them too big, then you have this fear of them not cooking evenly throughout. They just look so beautiful. That turmeric really helps create this beautiful color combination between the onions, carrots, and coriander. It looks absolutely beautiful. So as you're kind of spooning them out with your fingers,